Okay, so here in New England, there's a rising popularity in Muay Thai kickboxing thanks to no boundary fights, which their most recent show had 4 female bouts out of 8. So on today's episode, I have one of those Muay Thai kickboxers who won her fight in the first round with a spectacular overhand right, dropping her opponent to the ground. I'd like to welcome Emily Kelly from Sityodtong Muay Thai. So happy to have you here. Hey, 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 this is Evolve WMMA, and I'm your host, Shelly Devine. Good morning. Hi.
Hey, Shelly.
Hi, Emily. Welcome to the show.
How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good.
You still coming down after that awesome win?
A little bit, I guess.
Yeah, that was pretty exciting. When I saw the replay of it, I was like, holy moly, first round knockout. Was that your first knockout ever, like in a fight?
Yeah. I had the same reaction you did.
I'm like, wow, it looked great. Till you like, bam! And the knuckles were right there. I'm like, who at Sityodtong showed you, like, really to plant your knuckles down on somebody's chin? Who showed you that?
Oh, that's something that like Andy and I work on. Kumar,
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
done a lot of boxing.
Yeah, cool. Because I mean, like, I could see it even like when you threw the punch. I was like, oh man, there are the knuckles, and I was like, yeah, that girl ain't getting out of that. That was awesome. So, um, for our fight fans that are listening, our listeners, would you mind sharing? I'd like to welcome Emily Kelly for starters. I know Emily, so I burst out with, "Hey, how are you?" But could you share with our listeners just a little bit, a little background on yourself, what you do, how you might have gotten into the martial arts, and yeah, just start there, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, sure. So I've been training Muay Thai for a little less than 3 years. I've been fighting for a year and a half. My first fight was a smoker at Redline. That was in like December 2016, and then I've had 4 fights since then. My record's 3-1 right now. But I started at Sityodtong. That's all of my fights have been out of Sityodtong. Before that, I guess my kind of segue into martial arts was like a cardio boxing gym that I had joined. And then, I mean, I just fell in love with fighting.
How long were you at the cardio? It was like a cardio kickboxing class,
Yeah.
or?
I was at Title for a year, and then I had made enough connections to kind of segue into martial arts, and because I didn't know where to go, like, so I lived in Florida for a little over 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm from here originally.
Mm-hmm.
So when I moved back to Massachusetts, most of my friends who I'd gone to school with had either, left, or, they were in school. So I just didn't really know anybody anymore. And I think my parents kind of got tired of hanging out with me all the time. Yeah, I joined a gym, and it happened to be,
Yeah. What did you move to Florida for?
I went to school
Yeah.
for 2 years, went to college.
What did you go to school for?
English.
English. So you're an English major?
Yeah, I never finished though. I only did 2 years.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And what was your goal there, like, for English? Did you want to be an English teacher or a writer, or what was
Yeah,
the goal?
I don't know. I mean, I bounced back and forth with a few ideas. When I was in school, I worked for a newspaper and a couple of magazines, and I did like graphic design and editorial kind of
Mhm.
stuff. I had a column for a little while. but I knew I wanted to do something with writing. Just
Mm-hmm.
wasn't exactly sure where.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously not doing that anymore.
Well, maybe you should write on mixed martial arts or something like that, or Muay Thai kickboxing, because you have a passion for it, obviously, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of shifted away from it, but it was,
Mm-hmm.
at the time, that was what the goal was.
Right. So, you got into kickboxing through a cardio kickboxing class. That's how I got into martial arts too. I started a cardio kickboxing class. My daughter actually wanted to take karate, and they had
Yeah,
a woman's class. I think it was during the day, and a few other mothers at the time took the class, and one thing led to another. And I mean, the first time I hit the bag, I was like, "Oh my God, I love this." I was like, "Where have I been all my life?" You know, like. And it's funny. I mean, did you ever have an inkling of it, like maybe when you were a younger, kid, that a fascination with maybe watching mixed martial arts or martial arts movies or anything like that? Or do you have siblings that might have fought with at all?
I mean, me and my brother definitely like. Well, okay, I shouldn't say that. I definitely beat the shit out of my brother if he, because I'm the oldest of two. I'm
Yeah.
older than him, so but now he beats me up.
Yeah.
He got into jujitsu this year.
Oh,
But
nice.
yeah,
Did you get him into it?
yeah, kind of. But like as a kid, I was like definitely not an athlete. I mean, I was always just kind of like skinny, but
Mhm.
I did like cheerleading and I played lacrosse for like a couple seasons, and that was just like a total bust and it's not very good at lacrosse. I, I definitely like don't think that I was ever much of an athlete as a kid. It was more like when I was in college, or when I just like when I left college, I had gotten into kind of just like working out and lifting, going to the gym, and I like really wanted to box. And I actually went to a gym in Florida to check it out. It was called like Pound for Pound Fitness or something, but it was like the same kind of deal. It was like a cardio place. They did like a little bit of sparring,
Mm-hmm.
mostly cardio. And I didn't wind up signing up there because I knew I was leaving
Mm-hmm.
Florida, but I like really just wanted to do it.
Mm.
When I moved back up here, I just kind of
Made the transition, found a place, and started training or taking classes and learning something. So obviously, whoever kind of guided you through and guiding you over to Sityodtong must have known what they were doing. They probably saw something in you that said, "Yeah, you'd be a perfect fit for over here." Because I mean, you kind of have to have a little bit of a. I mean, were you a little intimidated going in there at all?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I I never I never really like experienced anything like City Tongue when I first went there. So I was definitely intimidated. Definitely intimidated for like months afterwards. Like when I started going to the team practices and sparring, like the women that are there, like I was so scared of them. Like I still am. But
I know. But aren't they sweethearts? They're all sweethearts, right?
no, everyone at the gym is awesome.
Yeah.
They're like the nicest people I've ever met.
Yeah. Um, so when the very first day, did you go in by yourself or did you go in with someone else?
No, I went in with my boyfriend at the time who
Okay.
trained there.
Nice.
So we were going together for a while.
Oh, okay. That's good that you had some you had like, oh, okay, I can just kind of, be under his wing a little bit.
For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, no, that definitely helped. It like I don't know if I could have gone in there by myself. I wouldn't have found it by myself. I mean,
Right.
you would not know it's a gym like off the
I
street.
know. Well, it's a law office.
Yeah.
It used to be an old law office. And the thing of it is probably when you came in, when I started there, it was the basement entrance. So
Yeah.
you were going into the basement instead. And that was really, I mean, behind this, it was a black door at the time, I think. And at the bottom of it, they had a Rottweiler Ducati. and with a chain around his neck, like, and you're like, I'm really going into the fight club, like, oh my word, I can remember it. And then there was some women down there. I don't think you've ever met Gina Bailey, but she was at the bottom of the stairs, and Marie, Mark Delagrati's wife, she'd be at the bottom. They're like, hey, how are you? You want to do this? Really? You sure? And I'm like, yeah. So
you're like an OG showing.
yeah, I am. I started there a long time ago when shit was going down, when Kenny Florian was coming up, and he just got into the UFC with Mark. Yeah. All that. I was kind of just a little bit right around that time. Kenny used to work for my ex-husband. Okay. So that was the connection there. And so we followed his career path and became even kind of very involved in it. Mm-hmm. We opened our own gym way back, and then I ended up starting to train. Mark needed somebody to teach like a cardio kickboxing class, mm-hmm. and I started doing that there. So, and then just training and loving it. And there was no women. There was hardly any women. There was only, I think, like 3 other women, and we were trying to get that gateway kind of class going to bring other women into it. And now, lucky you, there's so many more women there.
I was gonna say, like, there's so many more women now.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's like just as many, if not more, women than men at practice. Like, not often, but once in a while.
Yeah. So did you ever think that you would be actually in the ring, having, a fight, like having a match, getting in there and doing what you're doing now?
I mean, like 5 years ago, I never thought that I would have been where I am now. Like, that just wasn't even, I didn't even think that was an option. Mm-hmm. But from like the very first day that I was at that cardio boxing class, I was just like, I want to do this. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but like, I definitely, like, I knew that I wanted to do it. And like, for that whole year, like, I was pretty persistent. I knew I wanted to do it. And then when I like got like punched in the face for the first time, I was like, oh, this is so different like than hitting a heavy bag. But
I was just talking about that with someone else, and saying, like, there's something about, like, it's usually a make or break for somebody who actually wants to get into fight or not to fight. You get punched in the face once and you're like, oh, either that wasn't so bad or that sucked. I don't think I want to, like, I don't mind the sparring, like sparring in class, but I don't think I want to put myself in the ring or whatever. And you're obviously one of those, oh, that's not that bad. I can deal with that. It's just too funny. So can you tell us about like your first time you had a smoker? And was that at Redline? I think Redline has a lot of these going on. Like, Redline started out a lot of people. They really did, with the Groupon and getting into that place. Did you start there with a smoker?
Yeah, I did. So I did my first smoker there, and I went with Stephanie, one of the other girls from Sit Tong. She was supposed to get in the ring too, but her opponent, like the girl she was matched up with, was like a nurse and wound up getting stuck at work. Uh-huh. So like halfway through the night, like Stephanie found out that she didn't get to fight, but she still stayed and helped me. Rachel helped me. She was there.
Oh, good.
I think she was cornering me.
Oh, great. Ray's great. She's been around for a while.
There was like a lot of people who came from the gym just to help me, so that was awesome. And yeah, that was such a wild like experience. Like,
can you go through it? Because I know there's probably some people out there who are in a cardio kickboxing class, mm-hmm. and they're thinking along the same lines you are, but they don't know how to go about doing it. They don't know what it's going to be feeling like. They don't know what they're getting themselves into. And because I know I've had a couple of students that I'm like, yeah, you could do this. And they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, oh, I know you could, because they're super competitive. There's one in particular that I know that's super competitive. And she would be like, yeah, crazy. Like, I mean, like, I think she really wallop somebody if she had the chance. And just to go through what it was like the first time you did a smoker, like if you wore headgear, if, you know, like the whole preparation, and just kind of actually give a you know, a little description of what it was like for you and the sensations, the feelings that you had, any anxiety, or you were like thrilled, or what it was like for you.
Yeah, so red lines in Cambridge, which is like a pain in the ass to park in. So I remember we get there and we're kind of like running late because we were trying to find parking, and we find parking and we lock the keys in the car. And I had taken out my gym bag, so I had like what I needed, but like just the keys were locked in the car, and we're just like, all right, like gotta go inside, like deal with this later. I remember like that was like the first like part of the night, locking the keys. Then we like get red lines like underneath the red line. Just figured out that's why it's called red line.
I didn't even know that. Oh.
Under the red line, makes sense.
Yeah.
So we go downstairs. The place it's pretty big. There was so many people there, and I put my stuff down, and I was going to be like the first fight. So I think there was like an hour, maybe 2 hours before we were going to start the fights. And I remember like having like, I was feeling anxious, but then like I looked over and there was just like a circle of like people from Seitan, and I like immediately like felt like more calm that there were like other people there. Mm-hmm. And it was so cool that like all of them came, because I had only been at the gym for I don't even know how long I had been there, but it wasn't long. So it was cool to see them like come out to support me. But it all like happened pretty fast. Like I warmed up for maybe like 10 minutes, just kind of hitting the pads. And I had so much adrenaline. I was getting like so tired just hitting the pads. And it's like, why am I so tired right now? Like this is
adrenaline. I know.
But so then like I just heard them like calling my name, and so I just like from there just like walked in the ring, and I did have headgear on, so they if you had never done a smoker before, they had you wear headgear, and this was my first smoker, so I wore headgear, and so did my opponent, and we had like shin guards and gloves and everything. So I got in the ring, and I remember getting into the ring and, you know, moving into the middle to like touch gloves with the girl that I was gonna punch in the face, and I was like, oh shit, like this is actually happening, like no turning back now. And, like, I think the first round went pretty good. Like it was really like fast paced and exciting, and then I moved like when the bell went off and I went over to my corner for the second round. I remember like putting my hands on the ropes and being like, oh my god, I'm gassed. Like I don't know how I'm gonna do like 2 more rounds. I was so tired, like from all the adrenaline. And then the second round, she swept me like 3 or 4 times, and I got like dumped on my ass. She kept like catching my kicks, and I didn't really know what to do like when my kick got caught. So I just like got swept, and that was like such a like crushing feeling, like being on the ground and getting back up, and it was just like, oh god, like I'm doing so bad. And then I don't think I got swept in the third round, so that was good. But there was no like judges or anything. They just like raised both our hands at the end. And we wound up, the girl that did the smoker with me was from Redline, Mew Seppo, and we wound up fighting in No Boundary a few like years later. It was this year, so yeah, a couple of years later, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, that was like honestly like that was like the best night of my life. Like it was so much fun. Like the smoker was awesome. I got to, so after, tell me if I'm rambling. I feel like I'm talking so much right now.
Okay, I love it. It's great.
So after I fought, my brother and my boyfriend like ran back to the house to like get an extra set of car keys to like deal with that situation. So they missed, and we lived in Haverhill, and we're in Cambridge during like rush hour. So they missed all of the fights, and there was a lot. Like there were like 15 or 16 fights that night. So I got to watch all of them, and it was just so cool. Like I remember also like the hour after I fought, I felt like so weird. Like people were talking to me, and I felt like I was like drunk, and like people were talking to me, and I was trying to like act like I wasn't drunk. Like I was just trying to like seem coherent and fine. So I don't know if it was the adrenaline or if I got a concussion. I don't really know, but that's like the only time I thought I was gonna feel like that after every fight, but that was really the only time I ever felt like that. It was so weird. Uh,
I'd say it was probably the adrenaline because I know I felt similar. I felt everything got like really slow motion,
yeah,
and I didn't hear things like everything felt like it sounded weird,
it was
and
like
I was the first fight too, like in my smoker, and it was really it was quite something, like that adrenaline kind of feeling. And I'm glad to hear that you said that the second and third, then now the fights, you don't feel like that anymore.
yeah, no, I didn't know what it was. It was such a weird feeling, but a lot of people came to see me too, like
Hmm.
people that I work with, friends, they all came. So a lot of people were like coming up to me and like, like saying good job or whatever. And I just, all of that was just kind of blurry. And it wasn't until like much later in the night that I started feeling like normal again. But I did like, I thought I like did like a lot worse until I saw the video. I was like, okay, like I didn't do that bad. But that's when I met Mohamed from No Boundary. He was there, and he was the first person, like, when I got out of the ring, this guy who, like, didn't know, just, like, grabbed me and started talking to me. He was like, oh, like, great job. Like, that was so much fun to watch. And I was like, who is this guy?
Yeah, he's been around for a while. He's been training, well, people in Muay Thai for some time. I actually think he's bounced around a lot. I don't know if does he have a gym?
Yeah. He trains at Bishop's.
Okay. Okay, that makes
He
sense. Yeah.
trains Cassie, who's she's fought on No Boundary a few times, and she's the ring girl at Cage Titans.
Okay.
You would recognize her from there. But
Cool. So
yeah,
you fought on his card. Is that where you have all your 3 fights or your 4 fights is on No Boundary?
with No Boundary and one with Wartime in Rhode Island. Um, but yeah, that's how I met Mohammed and found out about No Boundary. And he asked, actually, after that smoker, he asked me to fight um, Seppo again, but it was her opponent had pulled out. I think her opponent got injured or something. So it
Hmm.
was the last minute thing. And when he sent me the message, I was like violently ill with like a 24-hour stomach bug.
Oh,
And I had been throwing up for like the whole day, and I lost like 10 pounds of fluid just like
geez. Oh,
from
that's
eating.
horrible.
And I was like, and the fight was like that Friday, and I was like, there's no way that I can like get in the ring. Like I'm so sick. So that didn't happen. And then he asked me to fight again, like later that summer, and I turned that down too. I felt like I just wasn't ready for like a real fight. I wanted to do another smoker. But then in October, I finally wound up fighting for No Boundary and didn't do any more smokers, but it was awesome. It was then that was the best night of my life.
Right, right. It just keeps getting better than you're saying. That's what you're telling me.
Yeah, no, seriously, there's no other feeling like it. Like it's amazing. I mean,
Yeah, that's great. So, do you have any personal habits or a daily routine that has contributed to your success at winning like your fights? I mean, you have a 3-1 record right now as an amateur.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about like habits or routines, but I definitely am mindful of my mindset, I guess. Like when I go to practice, I just like try to give my training partners like everything that I have that day. I don't go in like trying to get something. I just go in there trying to give what I have. And then with my fights, I never go into the ring angry. And I never go into practice angry either, but I think some people are kind of like rage driven and that works for them. But for me, I noticed like when I first started training, when I first started sparring, if I ever was like mad about something and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna like go into the gym and like I'm mad, and I'll feel better afterwards. Like I never like got a good practice if I was mad. I just felt like I did a lot of dumb things and
Mm-hmm.
made a lot of mistakes. So I never go into a fight like angry. I never like hate the person like sitting
Mm-hmm.
across from me. I'm like happy that they're like experiencing it with me, and I never like I never have any like ill will like towards them, you know?
Right. Well, that's actually a great way to be. Yeah, I mean, they're an opponent just like yourself. I mean, they're an athlete just like yourself, and they're in there for the experience and hopefully a positive one. You know, could you tell us a story in your fight career where you might have had an aha moment of realization?
Yeah. So I think martial arts is so awesome because it's such a rabbit hole as far as what you can learn. Like some weeks I feel like my cardio is like unstoppable and I'm just nailing like new techniques and I feel like I'm really like developing my style. And then the next week I'm screwing up things that are just so fundamental. Like I'll feel like some days I feel like, oh my God, I'm going broke. And then other days I'm like, holy shit, like I just had no idea that like my life was going to be so cool like 5 years ago and I'd be doing this. And I guess the aha moment is just realizing that there's highs and lows, and those lows are when I'm like most introspective and I'm thinking, okay, like why is this not working? Like what do I need to be doing to like get back to that high? So like those lows, like I'm really appreciative of because they carry me like into the next high, and the next high is when I'm like developing like a new skill or like learning something. And um I think I when I like first started training martial arts, I would feel like really stagnant when I was in those lows, and now I just know that it's another like dip, and then it's gonna take me like into the next upswing. So I
Mhm.
guess the aha moment is just realizing that it is a roller coaster and that it's okay. Like you have to like appreciate those lows, and
Right. Yeah,
it's
because then all of a sudden you'll be really low, and then you all of a sudden go boom, and you're like, how did that happen, right?
right. The swing. Like the low is just like you're just on the cusp of the next high, you know? You're not
Mhm.
gonna be there. Like you're not gonna be there forever,
Mhm.
you know?
Mhm.
So I guess that's the aha moment. And that's why like martial arts is so cool because I mean the gym that I work at, like the cardio place, a lot of people will come in and they've tried other like boutique workouts, you know,
Mhm.
and they kind of like hit a plateau with them. They're like, okay, this was fun for a while, this was cool, but now I feel like I'm just kind of like the same. And like, I just always tell them like, you're never gonna feel that way. Like boxing, kickboxing, MMA, whatever it is, like you're gonna go through a lot of ups and downs.
Oh yeah. It definitely helps develop your character too, because you get humbled quite frequently, right?
Yeah,
You might be sparring with another opponent, and you're like thinking you're doing, and then all of a sudden you're like, how did that happen? They really caught me. Or, I mean, are you doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu, or are you just strictly with the Muay Thai?
I do a little bit of nogi, a little bit of wrestling. It's a lot of fun. Um, I don't know if I want to transition to MMA, maybe. I mean, I
Mhm.
just want to like, I want to keep the door open, and I just think it's good to know, like, it's good. It's really good self-defense. It helps me, like, in my clinch game with Muay Thai, just knowing how to, like, manipulate, like, my shoulder pressure, head pressure.
Mhm.
It's a good workout. It's fun. But honestly, I started like doing it more. Like I do that like twice a week. I just started doing it more consistently because my little brother who's in college, he started doing JiuJitsu when he was in school.
Uh-huh.
And so he goes to school in New York, and we talk like every day, and he would tell me like, oh, I can't wait to like be back for the summer, like we can roll together. He's like, you're gonna be able to teach me so much. I'm like, oh yeah, like for sure, like because I like don't really like, he's much better at jiu-jitsu than I am, so I was like, oh shit, like I gotta like get on my jiu-jitsu game so he doesn't think I suck. So
That's
now
awesome.
he's been training at like Seitan this summer. But
Cool. So, who would you say has played a meaningful role in your life's journey and influenced you in a positive way?
yeah, it's hard to pick like one person. I mean, I have such an awesome family. Like, I'm so lucky. Like, everyone comes from like different backgrounds, and not everyone has like a solid family unit. But I mean, my parents have just been like so supportive of me, like through things that I never like as like a teenager. I never thought that they would be like there for me the way that they are. But like my mom, like she comes to all my fights, and she doesn't really like seeing me get hit, but like she's always there, and I appreciate that. And, like my dad he doesn't come to the fights. He's like more of a pacifist. He doesn't really like watching it, but he always like will text me like, "Oh, good luck, like be safe." And I mean, they're super awesome. So they've definitely like, and not just like in martial arts, but just like in my personal life too. Like they've like supported me, like so. I don't know. It sounds cliche. I feel like I should have a more unique answer,
No,
but
that's fine. Family's important. It's really, I mean, it gives you a good foundation for where you want to go and what you want to do, and knowing that you have that support and that foundation, that strong kind of, support, that you have somebody behind you and
yeah,
that's there for you,
yeah,
it gives you a sense of confidence, I think, too, and some personal power for sure. So, can you tell us a story or a time on your journey where you might have experienced some failure and what you learned from it?
yeah. The like first time I really like felt like I had like failed like big time was like when I dropped out of college. I did 2 years there, and like I was really good at school. I left with like a 4.0. And I'm still not like entirely sure why I left. I knew that I just wasn't cut out for going to college, getting a sales job, and just like working this like 9 to 5 life, and like living for the weekend. And just like that was just like that, like I think I was anxious about that feeling. Like it was just like so sinking, and it was like killing me. And I was just like, I can't like do this. I don't know. I was like, there was like a lot of other factors too. Like I was in a really bad relationship, and I was just really unhappy like with where I was at. I had like issues with like substance abuse, and I this is when I was like living in Florida. And um I just like one day like drove to the I lived in Orlando, which is kind of landlocked, and I drove to Daytona Beach. You can drive your car up on the beach on the sand, and I just like got out of the car and fell asleep and woke up at like 11 in the morning with like a horrible sunburn. It was like the end of August in Florida. It was so hot. And I just got back in the car and drove like the 25 hours to Massachusetts. And that was it. I left like, I had an apartment. I left like all my furniture, I left my clothes, like my books. I didn't take anything. I just got in the car and just drove home like to my parents' house. And that's when like a few months after that is when like I got into martial arts. But I mean, that's when I like really I just felt like my life was like, you prepare like your years in high school for your life to go like one way, and then it's not like it's not always this like uphill. Like I just had this like false idea that everything, like I was going to go to college and go get this job and get married, and just things happen, there's hiccups, and it's not always like how you like planned it out on paper like your senior year of high school. um so that's when I just kind of felt like I didn't really know where I was going, and I didn't know like what my direction was. And but I mean, that's not like my story's not like unique or anything. I mean, a lot of people come from like I've heard like a lot of similar stories, and I've heard like a lot worse. Like I've had it really good. Like I definitely haven't had it like hard by any means. Like I've always had like my family and you know enough cash to like buy some decent food. So I don't think that I like came from, I don't want to make it sound like I came from this like really dramatic like struggle. That was just, when I felt like I had to kind of like sit back and be like, okay, like I don't want that. Like that's not making sense for me. So
Mm-hmm.
what do I want to do now? Like I just try to like do something until it makes sense. If it's not making sense, like shouldn't be doing it. So
Yeah, it sounded like you had a period of time where you could really go and test some things away from your home. You're out of state for were you out of state for the first time away from your family?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so you got a chance to really kind of explore some things and you decided, hey, maybe this isn't really what I was thinking it was gonna be. You had a lot of freedom.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so when you came back, I mean, were your parents like, oh my God, what happened? What are you doing home? Were they shocked or?
Yeah, I mean, they kind of knew like that I was going through a hard time, and that's like was the first time where I really like realized like how much like they are there for me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I've had friends who I grew up with who I thought I was gonna be friends with forever, who I don't talk to anymore. Like, I've had like, relationships I've been in that I thought I was gonna marry the person, those didn't work out, and looking at those and then just seeing like how my parents and like my siblings were like always there for me, like that really just makes me like appreciate them so much, like because they're the only ones who have just been there like for everything
Consistently.
consistently. Yeah. And not everyone has that, but
Mm.
yeah, they were like they just like wanted me to like get better. Like they're like I was just like their like number one concern. Like they weren't really like I'm sure they were like disappointed, but I think they were more just like upset that like I was feeling that way and just like wanted to like help me like get to a better like spot.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when you said you wanted to do kickboxing, we were like, really? Or like were they a little like, or I mean, I know you said that they're supportive, but initially when you first came up with that, what was their reactions to that?
Yeah, so my dad was when I like joined the like cardio gym, he was like, so are you like gonna get hit? And I was like, no, no, dad, like it's not like that, like you don't get hit. And then when I started fighting, he was like, well, before I started fighting, when I like did that smoker, when I was getting ready for that smoker, he's like, so like, are you gonna get hit? And I was like, no, 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 like wear headgear, wear shin pads, like it's fine, like you don't even feel it. And then when I started like actually fighting, he's like, so are you gonna get hit? And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get hit.
Worried. He was worried. Wow.
I mean, I'm his firstborn.
Yeah. So yeah, he's worried about his baby girl.
He's always been that way. But my mom thinks it's like she thinks it's kind of cool. She's
Mm.
like, she's she thinks that I can just like take on anybody. She like will tell her friends like she'll pick like the biggest like burliest man in the room. She'll be like, oh yeah, like my daughter could beat him up. And I'm like,
Kick his ass. That's awesome. So you mentioned that you were in an abusive relationship.
yeah.
Well, what kind of abuse was it? If you
It's a little bit of everything.
really so physical and
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I love the bad guys.
Oh boy, are you still that way?
No, no. I mean, I'm dating a girl now. So.
Now you can kick their ass. Is that what you're saying?
Oh no, 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 no. She definitely kicks my ass.
Okay. All right. So, what has been your greatest challenge with dealing with fear and how do you overcome it?
Um, I don't think like I think I have anxiety sometimes, but I don't think I'm not fearful. Um, I don't get scared like going into fights. I know that like nobody that I'm gonna get in the ring with hits as hard as Jeff Perez, so that's kind of comforting. Like my training partners are gonna crack me like a lot harder than I'm gonna get hit in a fight.
So true.
But I, yeah, I don't think I'm a fearful person. I'm not like scared. I just try to like I just enjoy like every moment of like training and fighting, and I get scared about things that are like not related to fighting, like oh my god, like what am I going to be doing in like 5 years, like stuff like that. Like I get like anxieties about like the future, but
Is that what keeps you up at night? that sort of stuff?
like a baby.
What's that? Say that again. I couldn't hear you.
I sleep like a baby. I don't have problems sleeping. I don't know, man. Like I'm just like I just maybe I'm just like going through like one of the highs I was talking about with like martial arts, but I don't really like I don't get as anxious as I used to. I just when I'm feeling that way, I just kind of like try to ride it out because I look at all of the other times that I felt that way, and like everything worked out fine. You know, I'm here now. Like nothing like really really bad's happened, so I just know that it's just another one of those times. Like I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be fine. Like I have a really good support system. Like I have a really good friends, a really good family. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think I have a really good life, and I think I do like my day to day, like I enjoy like so much. Like I don't need like a vacation from it. Like I don't really like taking time away from just my everyday like routine because I enjoy it.
What is your typical daily routine?
So I work I'm a bartender, so my schedule is a little different. I mean, I'm home at 11 o'clock on a Wednesday. Um it's I my work day or my work week is like Thursday to Sunday mostly, and then Monday to Wednesday I'm not working at the bar, so it's a little different. I sleep later in the day because I work late at night, but I always start the day with coffee. Good coffee is you're gonna have a good day if you have a good cup of coffee.
And then how often do you train?
So I train during the day. I either go so like Tuesdays and Thursdays I go to wrestling and then Muay Thai. And then I do my cardio at night. Monday and Wednesday I do the opposite. I do my cardio for a couple hours during the day, and then I train at night. And then weekends I get some sparring rounds in, get some cardio in. But I
So
spend a
it's
lot
every
of
day.
time. Yeah,
You're training every day.
yeah. If I take like a rest day, I'll still go on like a light run, like do a few miles. I don't like doing nothing.
Mhm.
And I mean, I'm only 23 too, so my body like recovers really quickly. Uh,
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm so jealous.
I try to take care of it,
Yeah,
but I'm definitely taking advantage of like being able to, crush like hard workouts and then be fine the next day. I'm
that's
trying to be better about like recovering though, like
mhm.
icing, making sure that I, take care of myself for the long run because I want to be doing this for a long time.
Mhm. Do you see yourself as a role model for young girls or young women who are coming up in martial arts or Muay Thai kickboxing?
I don't know. That would be cool if I was. I don't know if I'm like a role model for anyone.
Well, you've been in a few shows now, and you got videos on YouTube now where they're featuring your fight. So could be coming.
Yeah, I hope just like people can see it and like if they want to do it, they're like, I hope they like see me fight and like they're like, oh, I could do that. Like, because I think that's awesome, especially like women. Like, I think it's so cool. Like, women who get into like combat sports or not even just like sports or fighting, but like are just doing jobs that, you know, are more like have in the past been more like only for men. I don't know. I think it's like pretty cool and badass. Like women who are just kind of like pushing the boundaries and like doing what they want to do because they want to do it, not because, you know, they're not like trying to fit themselves into like holes that everyone else says they should be in, but they don't necessarily fit in.
Did you feel that like when you were in college and you decided to leave, did you kind of sense a little of that while you were there, like that you were kind of getting pushed into a mold because you were female, or, and maybe that kind of made you uncomfortable, plus the whole like, you know, get married, have a career, sit at a 9 to 5 desk, all that kind of just pushed, you know, catapulted you into actually coming back home and starting this whole other life for yourself. Did you find any of that coming up for you, being a woman?
Yeah, I think I you know, I wish I could have like taken a year off between high school and college and really like figured out what I wanted to do. I mean, it's so like when you're like 17, it's so hard to imagine what you want to be doing like 5 years from then. Even just 5 years like seems like so much time, like when you're 17 and you're still like in school studying for tests, and you're also trying to like research colleges and, you know, figure out a career path. And I was never like my little sister has known that she'd want to be a surgeon since she was like 6 when she started watching Grey's Anatomy. Like she's in high school now and like is like preparing to like be a doctor.
Yeah.
And like I was just never like that. Like
Yeah.
I wanted to be, I don't remember what like the first thing, I think like the first thing I wanted to be was a cheerleader. But I don't like being upside down, so that was kind of out for me. I don't like tumbling. But I wanted to be a nutritionist. I wanted to be an artist. Wanted to be a writer. I wanted to be an editor. Like there were so many different things that I wanted to do, and it was hard for me to just like pick one thing. So I kind of went into school with like a really broad major. It was like, all right, like I'll just figure it out. And then 2 years into school, I hadn't figured it out, and I started like panicking. I felt like, you know, everyone was starting to look at internships, and I had no idea what I wanted to do. And I guess I could have stuck it out and like explored a few more things. But I don't know. I just felt like I was like, I felt like I was like on a treadmill that was like going too fast. And I was like, I just felt like I had that constant feeling that like I was going to fall on my face. And I just needed to like pause for a second and like just kind of take some time to like be introspective and be like, okay, like what is going to like make me happy right now?
Yeah. Do you have that feeling now at all, since I mean, you've been out of school now for how long has it been? 2 years, 3 years?
So I graduated in 2012.
Oh, so it's been a while.
It's
5.
been like I must have left in like 2014 because I finished 2 years, and then the end of August is when I stayed like in Florida for the summer, and then I moved myself back. So it's been like 4 years. Is that right? Like
Yeah.
3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
That
Wow.
must have been 4. Must have been 4. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And you feel way better now, right? Is that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just so much happier. Like I look at what like my 5 year reunion for high school just passed like last year, and I didn't go to it because it was raining, and I didn't I didn't want to go outside in the rain. It was like downpouring, but I just like it just made me kind of curious as to what everyone else is up to. And you know, most people kind of did the like 4 year college track and are working like miscellaneous like sales jobs now, which is cool. Like it's, you know, they all seem to be doing well, but I don't know. I just couldn't imagine myself like doing that. Like that just sounds like a nightmare to me. Like I just think that what I do is so much more fun. But
Yeah,
I mean, like for me,
definitely is.
like, some people like look at like, you know, the amount of like time that I spend in the gym and like the things that I like, you know, not to sound dramatic, but like the things that I sacrifice, like a weekend of like, you know, going out and like drinking, like oh, like I won't do that because like I'm fighting like the next week, and like to me that's not a big deal, but to some people they like can't imagine themselves like giving up their weekend for that, or like, you know, the amount of time that I spend in the gym, like some people that's not for them. So
Yeah. I know you have to be kind of a special breed, I think, to devote yourself to that kind of training. But once you do, like you get into it, it's like there's no turning back, really. I mean, I remember I was in the gym a lot in my younger years. Loved it, couldn't get enough. So, can you share a story when you felt inadequate or were told no because you were a woman? And
yeah,
how?
I mean, I kind of like get that something like that feeling like anytime like somebody like finds out that I fight, like the guys who are like in the gym like are so good to me, and like they're so good to like the other women that train there. Like they give us good rounds, like they treat us like equals. They don't treat us any different from like the guys that they're training with, which is like so awesome. Like I think some people might think that the guys would be different to us, but like they're not. And like I try to give them good work, and they just work so well with us, and like that makes me feel like they like respect me, and that's a good feeling. It's like outside of the gym that's the problem. Like I mean, like I bartend, so I talk to like a lot of people throughout the day. And I like don't really talk about like fighting because this is like the reactions that I get. But if they do like if it somehow like comes up or they find out, like I usually get like one of two reactions. Like a guy will either be like, oh, like you're too pretty, like why do you do that? Like you're gonna mess up your face, like aren't you scared of like getting like black eyes? Like they'll like say stuff like that, and they're doing it like they're they're trying to, it's coming from like a place of concern, and I usually get it from like older men who like could be my dad, and I think they see it like as like if I were their daughter, you know. And
Yeah.
I know it doesn't come from like a bad place, but it is like it feels really demeaning, like because they never would like have that reaction like if I were a man. And like I get like it's a different generation or whatever, but like things are changing, and like people just they need to like, you know, roll with it. And like the other reaction I get is different. It's more like I'm like small, and so when a guy like finds out that I fight, like they think it's like kind of cute, and they don't think it's like a real like fight. Like they almost like sexualize it, and they think it's like kind of hot, but
Yeah.
like they don't realize that like it's an actual fight. Like they think that because I'm only like, you know, 115 pounds or whatever, that it's not like there's no like violence or anything. And like that's just like so like different.
Mhm.
Like skinny girls can like hit like so hard, and these guys are always like, not to like stereotype, but they're always like bigger guys who like probably like go to the gym a lot and lift, and like when they just like the way that they like talk to me, like I'm just like thinking like I could fuck you up. Like they're just like they just have no idea. And like it's so funny. And they ask like stupid questions too, like, oh, like, do you ever get punched in the face? Like
Duh. You know? I
like
think that's funny, though. That is funny that people
it
say
doesn't
that.
like, bother me. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't like I just think it's like it really doesn't like it really doesn't bother me. Like sometimes it's like I kind of like bite my tongue a little bit, but it honestly like it doesn't matter to me like what they think. Like I really don't care.
Hmm.
And I think like part of that is just like, you know, I mean MMA is definitely like blowing up in popularity and becoming like more mainstream, which is super cool. Like sometimes like I'll say like, oh, I do Muay Thai, and they're like, what's that? And I'm like, it's kind of like kickboxing. Like you know, people just don't really know. So I think the more that like Muay Thai grows and MMA grows, like people will understand more, and they'll have more respect for it, and more respect for like the women who are kind of like, you know, pioneering like the like women in the UFC who have really like taken like women's combat sports to like the next level. Like people are starting to like recognize that more widely and like have respect for it. So, you know, some of these like local like shows, like No Boundary is like helping like grow Muay Thai like so.
It's excellent to have that in this area because we haven't had it for so long. You had to go to New York for a fight, you know, like, or Rhode Island, which there weren't too many for in Rhode Island. They would always fall off, or Connecticut. So
Yeah.
it's huge to have one in Massachusetts. Huge.
Yeah, no, seriously, it's like it's amazing. Like
Yeah.
those local like shows is like giving like local fighters a platform, and that's how people are going to get into like, you know, watching the bigger shows, watching on TV, and like actually following it. Like the same way with MMA, like, you know, there's so many like opportunities for MMA, and there's so many more shows, which is awesome. But now there's like local Muay Thai for there's local shows for Muay Thai because of No Boundary, and like that's amazing. Like
Yeah.
like Freddie and Mohamed like put so much work into it to like give us a platform to like show what we can do, and I just like think that's like amazing and like so awesome to like have that in Massachusetts, and it's only going to get bigger. And like
Right. So you were on a card recently that you knocked out, oh God, Alma Vicencio. I don't know if I said her name right. Forgive me, but I crucify so many names, it's not even funny. It's really bad. Yours was easy. I'm like, Emily Kelly. Yes, I got it. You know? But I'm under the impression that they're going to, well, what was great about the July 14th card is they had 4 women on it, like four female bouts with 4 male bouts, which I thought was awesome. And you were part of that.
I think there was more than that. I think there was like 7.
Well, oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I only saw 4, but I was like, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, what's that?
And Sarah Click was the main event.
Yes. Yes, I saw Sarah on there. She's awesome. I love seeing her fight. She puts on a great show too. But what I thought was interesting is they're going to have a title fight for their 112 pounders. Are you in the 112 pounder group or for women?
Yeah, I mean, my weight's moved around. I don't think I fought at the same weight twice. But I think they're still working out the details of that. But I mean, I would love to be in the mix. Like that just sounds like so much fun.
Well, I think you would probably be if you're in that weight category, if you can make it, or I mean, you look light. I don't know. I was like, are you 100 pounds? you gotta put some weight on or something to be in that. I think he said it was 112 pounds. And then it's looking like it might be in October on the 20th, from what I can gather. So I'm hoping that, I mean, are you hoping to be on that card?
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to. I love fighting for No Boundary. I love their show.
Cool.
And I'd like be part of that mix. I mean, it sounds like a lot of fun.
Awesome.
There's
So
what's
that?
So many like good girls like in that like bracket too. You know.
That's awesome. So if you do fight, who do you see? I mean, do you know some of the girls that are in that bracket that you think would be a good matchup for you?
I mean, I'll fight anybody. Like, I mean, Mohamed knows that. Like, my opponent for this last fight changed last minute. I was supposed to fight Belinda Sao, and then we had to shuffle everybody around because Cassie broke her toe, so she couldn't fight Jessie Lee. But they didn't want to scrap Jessie Lee's fight, so they just like shuffled everybody around. So Belinda wound up fighting Jessie, and they found me, Alma, who stepped up last minute. Like it was like, I don't remember, it was like 2 or 3 weeks out. Like, so she was like a last minute coming all the way from New York. Like I was so happy that like she like stepped up, and you know, I got to fight too. But yeah, I mean, I'll fight anybody. Like I treat, like training wise, like I treat everybody the same. Like, you know, I don't really change my training too much. Just, you know, I just kind of go in with like the intentions. I just want to put on a good show and like make it exciting for people to watch and, you know, get the win.
Good. So was that last fight, was that your first knockout?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. And what did that, I mean, like, were you like, what? Like
Yeah,
that fast?
I was like, it, it didn't like register like right away.
Mm.
I didn't know, like when they called the fight, I saw the ref, kind of give the hand signal that the fight was over.
Mm.
But then I heard like my corner calling to me, and I was like, oh, I was like confused, just like, oh, maybe like she's just getting another 8 count, like. But they were just like calling me over to like, like give me like a high five and
Yeah.
stuff.
Who was in your corner?
Andy and Chip, and actually, like, I mean, there was like they were like my official corners, but like, you know, there was like, Crew Mark was there, Andres was there, Sarah,
You had the whole gang. You had the whole support system there.
yeah, Tara's coach from USMMA was there. There was a lot of people. Yeah, I think Hector was over there.
Cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Say, hey, listen, I want to thank you for being on the show, and I'm going to wish you well. Like, I'm looking forward to October 20th, seeing you on that card and coming out victorious. I'm just going to say that now for the division or whatever, or that group of women that fight. And all the best to you, and thank you again.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show. I'm fighting August 11th too, in Rhode Island.
Oh, you got another fight coming up?
Yeah, a couple
When
weeks.
is it? Oh, I'm sorry. I should have said. Forgive me. I'm like getting ahead of myself. So, do you have like a little shout out you want to give, and a little infomercial or commercial, to what's coming up next for you, Emily? Kelly.
I'm fighting August 11th down in Rhode Island, so come see me.
What promotion is it?
It's Wartime.
Wartime.
Yeah.
And what's the date again?
August 11th.
August 11th. Okay, cool. I'll have to check that one out too. I'll have to look it up and find out who's the promoter.
It's Amber Lynn, and Jake Burke, I think so.
Okay, I'll have to look that up. Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, good luck with that show too. I'm excited for you. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited. Staying busy.
Yeah, for sure. Once again, thank you.
Thanks, Shelley.
Thank you. All right, so cool. You have a fight coming up on August 11th at Wartime in Rhode Island. And who are you matching up against with?
I'm fighting Annika. She is young, but she has a lot of experience. She's like the women's junior 117-pound champ.
Oh, wow.
Sponsored by Fight Style. So she's no scrub. But we're gonna put on a good show, and that'll be August 11th, Wartime down in Rhode Island. Come see us.
Awesome, Emily. I can't wait to see this. I'm going to have to reach out to the promoter and see if we can come down and do another interview, or we'll have this one out for you leading up to it for sure. But thank you for being on the show. Really appreciate it. Good luck training, and I will hopefully, I got to get my rear end into Sityodtong and do some training too. I haven't been in since December. It's really bad. I'm like, oh my God, I got to get down there, and then we can train together again, and you can kick my butt. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks, Shelley.
Bye-bye.
Like stickers and rash guards and stuff that was like, hashtag my bruises are from JiuJitsu, and it was really cool. Like I talked to the woman who is the one who like kind of travels around and helps organize the events a little bit, and I was like super into it. I was like, if you ever like come to this area again and do it, like I'd be down.
Yeah, that sounds great. I didn't know that they had that, and I wish I knew more about it. I'll have to hit Melanie up and find out about it, because anything with women's issues or anything like that, charity work, I would totally be up for. It would be great to, I mean, I do have connections here and there, and you guys do too. You guys do too, just by being in the fight, being in the fight world as a fighter now. People will listen to you and are following you. I bet you probably have more likes now on your Facebook page now because of your last fight. You'll be like a little New England. Oh yeah, we know who Emily is.
People sometimes recognize me from my hair.
Yep. Well, you're not blonde anymore, though. You were like
Shaved it.
bleach blonde.
Yeah, shaved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Youth is wonderful because I've thought of like, I wish I had done that a long time ago, but now I'm so stuck with my long hair. I don't want to give it up. I've thought about like, cause going gray, I was like, yeah, if I just shave it all off, then I could just go gray all at once.
Right.
It would be a lot easier, but I'm not brave enough to do it.
That's how I got my nickname. I shaved my head like the same week that Rose Namajunas did, and so Andy started calling me Thug Rose because I was bald.
Cool. Well, it fits you. Thug Rose. Now I know where it came from. I had no idea, but that's good. I like it.
I can't go back to the long hair now.
No, you got to stay that way. Looks good. Looks great on you.
That's why I got it. It's getting in my way. I used to like braid it back like in a French braid when I was training, and like one day it started like it was all just like coming out and in front of my face, and I couldn't like see. This guy was just like kept punching me, and I was getting so frustrated with my hair. Like the next day I like came in, my head was shaved. Like,
good for you. Yeah, I could see how that would happen. Yeah, for sure. I don't want to get punched in the head anymore. I want to, because I can't see. That's awesome. All right. Thanks again. I got to run. I got to actually get something to eat before my next interview. And this was a pleasure, and I can't wait to see you in the gym again.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, honey. Take care and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, so that was a great little interview with Emily Kelly, who will be fighting at No Boundary on October 20th. They're still waiting to figure out who she's going to be fighting, but I'll look forward to seeing that. And then she does have a fight coming up in August, in just 2 weeks, August 11th at Wartime in Rhode Island. And I'm not sure who her opponent is. I think it's Annika. I don't know what her last name is. But if you're in Rhode Island, you'll have to check her out because I'm sure it'll be an awesome fight. So if you like what you heard today and are eager to hear more, remember to subscribe, download on iTunes, and or better yet, 10x your energy without destroying your body by signing up for my free 3-part video course, where you can also be included to get updates on upcoming guests and the latest Evolve WMMA episodes. You can sign up at my blog, evolvewmma.com, or simply follow us at facebook.com/I love WMMA. This is Shelley Devine. Until next time, thanks for listening.